Hi, Richard. Thanks for joining our program today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company?
Okay, absolutely. So I've worked for Stryker, which is the company I work for a little over 5 years. And I am a senior recruiter, so I am responsible for hiring all kinds of different engineers, marketing, finance, operations, really all over the board for our division down in Dallas, Texas. And what we do at Stryker is we are a Fortune 400 medical device company. So we do all kinds of different medical devices, from orthopedic implants, minimally invasive surgical equipment, beds, stretchers, operating room suites, really all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so a lot of Duke students are pre-med, and some of them are interested in internship at your company, and some of them have landed internships with other medical companies. So let's go in talking about advice for students who already landed an internship. So how would you define professionalism in your working culture, and what should an intern know about this coming into your organization?
Sure. So the old adage of essentially, dress and act like the position that you want to take, I think is a pretty good one. Going into a company, you want to act like you want the job. And, I think a lot of people go in and building relationships is extremely important, and making sure that you get along with your fellow coworkers, but you also want to have that air of professionalism where you're dedicated to your job, where doing your job is important to you. If you hold that kind of accountability to yourself, I think you come off as very professional.
And how can you demonstrate that dedication?
Absolutely. So one of the things I think you can do is find a mentor. Find somebody within the organization that's either within the role that you're doing, or that you feel like you connected with as you join the organization, and spend some time with them and ask them and talk to them. What is it like working within this organization? What can I do to set myself up for success? I think another thing is deliver. You're going to be asked a lot as an intern in terms of whatever their expectations are, and make sure you're delivering on those expectations, and work with your manager, work with your coworkers to ensure that you are delivering. And then finally, I think accountability. And you're not going to know everything immediately. You're not going to always do the job appropriately. We all make mistakes, and especially coming as an intern, expect that you're going to make some mistakes. So take accountability for when you don't do the right thing, fix it, and move on.
Wow, okay. So you mentioned about how every intern will make some mistakes somehow. So what is the most common mistake that interns make related to professionalism and etiquette that they can actually avoid?
Yeah, I think, and it depends on the work environment that you've worked in before, but I think sometimes people can get a little too comfortable and a little too casual within the work environment, and it's depending on the organization as well. Like if you're getting along with everyone and you've built some great relationships, it's easy to kind of let your guard down and become extremely casual within your work environment. I think what I would encourage anyone to do is remember that, when you're at work, especially as an intern, this is an interview. It's an extended interview process where you're either hopefully earning a full-time job or earning that recommendation from them for another type of position. So make sure you maintain that air of I want to keep this job, I want to do well, I want to give across that image of an incredibly professional person.
So in your mind, what is professionalism?
Sure. So I think it's someone that's dedicated to their job and treats others with respect. There's all kinds of different minor tips to professionalism, whether it's how you send emails. You're not instant messaging to someone, you're not shooting off a text, you're shooting off an email to a fellow coworker, so you want to make sure that those are as professional as possible. But really it's how you carry yourself, the confidence, the respect that you have for your coworkers when you're talking with them. And that's what I say to avoid kind of that casual sense, is while you're at work, you're not hanging out with your buddies necessarily. You may have some great relationships, but if you're going into meetings, if you're going into project status updates, if you're doing things like that, you want to talk like you're in a business, not like you're hanging out with your friends.
Okay, so what advice do you have for an intern? So what have past interns done to make the best first impression?
Yeah, I think first of all, it's diving in. Don't be afraid, and don't wait necessarily for your company to come to you and say, here's what you're going to do. Jump in and say, well, what are my expectations? What do you want from me? And figure out how to achieve those. And a second part to that, and I've mentioned this before, is relationships. And you've probably heard it over and over again, either from the Career Center or your parents or anyone else, but it is vital to build relationships and network within your organization. So either that's going to be with somebody that you're working with directly and you build those types of relationships. You want to network with people in different departments in different areas of the organization. You know, it could be as simple as, hey, I'm new within the organization, I love it here, what do I have to do to continue enjoying it here and to continue doing my job well, and go to lunches or ask people to coffee and build those networks. Trust me, you know, it's a little intimidating up front, right? You're going to approach some of these more upper level professionals, but they really appreciate it. You know, they see that type of dedication and passion, and it really sits with them. And if you're continuing to build those relationships, then you've got a lot of people who are vouching for you when everything is said and done.
Wow. So how can you approach others in a professional manner?
Yeah, it's so, you know, it's the same type of deal, right? You're not walking up to your fraternity buddy or whatever. It's you're approaching them as if they are another professional, which they are. And so a lot of times I tell my employees that I have back at Stryker is come up with a valid excuse that's work related. So, you know, if it's as simple as you've never talked to this person before, you know, introduce yourself and say, you know, what are you up to this week? How was your weekend? You know, kind of the small talk type portion. I tell people, if you're ever nervous to actually approach someone and you don't know what to talk about, talk to them on a Friday or a Monday. Because on Friday, you can ask, well, what are you doing this weekend? Easy icebreaker. And on Monday, you can ask, well, what did you do this weekend? And then if you want to go for the more professional approach, as you follow up on those questions, say, hey, you know, I know that you are currently working with this role. I'm an intern here, and I'm very interested in learning, you know, what it takes to be successful in this organization. If you come up with a professional, quote-unquote excuse, then they're going to be more than happy to kind of share their insights and their knowledge and their experience with you. So I would highly encourage, find a small talk way in, or if you know something about them, hey, I heard, you know, you play lacrosse or you play hockey or whatever, and I'd love to hear more about that, and then you move into kind of the more professional sense. I think what some people will run into is they jump right into the professional conversation, like, hi, it's really important to me that I want to work at this company, and it's, you know, let's start with a small talk, and then move into the professional conversation.
So we've talked about how to make the good first impression. So right now I want to ask, what advice do you have for intern on maintaining a good impression throughout internship? So,
and I'm going to harp relationships through any question that you ask me, and that's part of it, is continue to keep up and network with those individuals that you're working with. And then the most basic thing that I always say to anyone who's ever interested in a job, at Stryker, a lot of times they ask, well, you know, what about moving up? How easy is it? And I always say, deliver. You know your expectations and deliver on your expectations, and take that very seriously. And I assure you, you're going to maintain a lot of respect within the organization if you're delivering on what they're asking you to do and you're maintaining those relationships. It's a very, very simple formula.
So are there any specific advice you want to give regarding to a medical company, like specifically your company?
You know, medical or really any other type of company, unless you're asking me about what specifically you would be doing in your role, and as an engineer, how do you succeed, and as a financial analyst, how do you succeed?
Okay.
You know, it really just depends. But I think one piece of advice I would give anyone coming into any organization is understand that you're not going to know everything the first day. You know, a lot of people are very type A. A lot of people in my organization are very type A, and they want to be delivering results, you know, within the second hour after orientation, and that's not normal. You know, find out your expectations and understand it's going to take a little bit of time to figure out what you have to do, and learn how to do it. You're not going to know it on the first day. You know, you're not going to know it in the first week. It's going to take some time to really build up that level of experience, and don't be afraid to lean on those that already have that experience. I think as long as you're coming in and you're finding out what your expectations are and you're networking with the people that you're going to be working with, you're going to be just fine.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any other advice you would like to give Duke interns regarding professionalism and etiquette?
You know, I think I don't want to beat a dead horse, but relationships and deliver on your expectations. And I say that to the point where always make sure you know what your expectations are. It's never fair to be asked to do something when you don't necessarily know what they're asking for you to deliver. So ask for those specific expectations and get to know the people that you work with. And I guarantee you're going to have a great internship.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.
That's all the questions I have for today.
Absolutely.